call the February 24th Architecture Review Board to order. Elise, if you could please call the roll.
Bob?
Here.
Jerry?
Here.
Dave?
Here.
And Joe?
Here. We have a quorum. If everyone could please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Any potential conflicts of interest for our board members today? Hearing none, I will move to number 4, our approval of the minutes from back in January 27th.
Move to approve. Second.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Minutes are approved. Thank you. Brings us to item number 5, the construction of the new multi-tenant convenience store and service station at the parcel number on the agenda. If that team could come to the podium and tell us what's being proposed, please.
Good afternoon. So I'm Gary Garden with Cautious Construction. Adhikari, he's not able to make it today, so hopefully I can answer your questions for you.
So put them on the screen, I think.
At least if you can pull the project up on the screen. That seemed pretty straightforward. We've had a couple of other prototype buildings go up in the area. The only questions I had, location of the mechanicals and meters, where those are likely to be, to make sure those are appropriately screened.
Sure. Yeah, so your first comment is we are trying to get some consistency. It's the same owner as multiple locations in town. He wants to get some consistency with the look of the buildings and have a bit of a brand look to them. So the building slopes from west to east, and it's going to be parapeted on both sides and the front. So there's going to be a significant amount of differential from the roof to the top of the parapets to screen any rooftop units servicing the building.
And those parapets, the roof has several different heights for parapets. Is the lowest one still a parapet, or is that a gravel stop?
Lowest is still a parapet.
Okay.
The roof line is below the lowest point there.
And I didn't see elevations on the plans for how high those parapets actually are.
That's a good question.
You're probably more concerned with the lowest parapet, what the height is, right?
What's the proposal?
Yeah.
121, so 21 feet.
I can't hear it.
18 feet, so there's about a 3-foot differential from the
3 foot.
tall ones to the lower ones.
Okay. We've just had some projects come through that have a nice tall parapet at the front that, that'll hide everything, but then from lots of other angles, you can still see the mechanicals on the roof. Sounds as if that's probably at least a reasonable height.
What was the lowest one?
So it's 18 feet at the top of the wall on the lowest one and 21 on the upper one. And I think our high point on the roof is about 15 feet, so it does. So it'll be at least 3 feet at the smallest point.
The lowest parapet would be 3 feet. And then how far back are the mechanical units from that parapet? To Joe's point, you just try to make sure that you don't have something that's a couple feet over that, because if it might be sitting on a roof curb or something, and that raises the elevation of the unit, of course.
Sure. Yeah, and I think too, as the units are identified, we can adjust those parapets for that. And there's going to be a parapet on both sides, so the south and the north as well as the west. If you look at the floor plan, these units are going to be fairly centered in the building as well, so quite a ways away from the edge.
Okay.
If you look at the spaces, I envision those to be centered in those 4 different occupancies.
So it might be advisable to request that once the mechanical units are sized, to have the drawings come back to staff to review, just to make sure that there is sufficient coverage of those, and if not, as you say, maybe adjust the parapets. Worst case, unit-mounted screening. Just trying to make sure we're
we can do either one. We wouldn't want them exposed anyway. So
yeah.
The one good thing about the parapets is that that gives you the units have to be 10 feet away from the roof edge unless there's a safety railing, while the parapet actually acts to cover that. So that's a benefit to having the parapet.
Yeah, good. Meter locations, we didn't have any big gas meters or electrical meters stuck on the front of the building. Do you know where those are going to be mounted?
No, the meters, any utilities would be to the back, the east, or at least the eastern section of the north side. So
Okay.
we wouldn't want those in visibility as well. I mean, there are some safety things with the petroleum that's on the front, but other than that, they'd all be, we don't want any utilities on the west or the south sides of the building.
And then the last thing that I had on my list was that north elevation, even though it's kind of the back of the building, you've got access from every which way, so that's still going to be fairly visible, and it's a pretty long, unbroken facade. Don't know if there's anything that can be done to, yeah, there it is, the top of the sheet.
Yeah, I was looking at that as well.
Just
So
break that up a little. The other sides are nicely broken into pieces.
yeah, so that's the elevation that faces the Popeyes.
Yeah.
So my thought would be to introduce some of that vertical ephes that's on the other elevations to break that elevation up.
Yeah.
It would probably tie it together better anyway.
And I think there's plenty of opportunity to do something fairly simple, but to break it up, don't think it needs to be a lot. Maybe it's just a little bit more emphasis at the corners. But again, that might be something to include in a motion to come back to staff for approval once they get that figured out, rather than holding the whole thing up. Any other questions or comments from the board?
Not for me.
Otherwise, I would entertain a motion.
Yeah, I'd make a motion to approve, subject to the north elevation coming back to only staff level, and I believe the other was the height of the parapets, correct? At staff level.
Yeah. Second.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion? Everyone's clear on the motion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion is approved. Thank you, Gary. Appreciate it. Just item number 6, the proposed construction of a building addition at Old World Creamery at 1606 Erie Avenue. If that team could come to the podium and make introductions and give us a little background, please.
Good afternoon, I'm David with Bayland Buildings. Old World Creamery is proposing to put about a 15,000 square foot addition on the west side. And the exterior would match the one we got approved 2 years ago with the tip-up concrete wall panels. And it's just being used for dry storage and whatever else Old World Creamery can get in there.
There we go.
I didn't have a lot on this one.
Steve just informed me that on that rendering right there, you see windows, I don't know, about 20 feet high. Those are no longer going to be in there.
And on the accent band, the little dots in the rendering, what are those?
Those are diamonds. It's all made as one unit.
Okay.
So that's a different accent panel, if you want to call it that way, with just some diamond in each of one of those panels. It's going to match the existing one on the one side, not the other. It'll have the accent band, but not the diamonds. Color and all that's staying the same.
Was the removal of the windows more of a security issue? I'm going to guess.
Again, in quality assurance, don't like them. Flies live up there in a food plant. We don't want it.
Yeah, you can't have any standing stuff on flat surfaces.
I'm sorry?
You can't have any flat surfaces because dust, whatever accumulates in the USDA will have an issue with that.
Yep. So then you got to have a plan how you went and clean them every week, and it just it doesn't work. So we had windows in the the building we put up 2 years ago. But that is a manufacturing area where cream cheese is done. There's workers in there. It's cleaned every 2 days. It's, there's a reason to clean it. When you go to a cooler freezer area, you can't have it. So on the diamonds, we didn't know they would end up looking like that, but then we did like the look of them. But that is, if we ever expand to the north, that is the piece that they weld the next part of the building onto. So that's why them diamonds are in there. That's a stainless steel plate that they weld to. We can go around the whole building with it, but we won't be adding on to the west, so we decided, why put them there? But they do put a nice look to the building. Everybody has said, oh, you got some diamonds on your building, but that's not what we did. It's just how we fell into it. So,
Elise, can you bring up the site plan for us? Any other questions or concerns on this one?
No, not for me. Make a motion to approve?
Can I just interject one question for you?
No, go ahead.
Is there any roof-mounted mechanical that we need to be concerned about?
I'm sorry.
RTUs, there's your RTUs on the roof.
There are going to be some refrigeration units, but they're tucked way back, and I think we do have a 3-foot.
There is a parapet on there. I've been trying to find out. The wall height is 31 feet, and I've been asking if somebody knew what the roof bearing is. I'm guessing it's at least 4 feet lower. If not more, I'll know more about that tomorrow at the meeting. I'll make sure I make somebody aware what the bearing is, but they will be hidden. They will be screened.
Okay.
Oh,
Is the roof-mounted units, are they ammonia or are they Freon?
Freon.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah.
And that's the new refrigerants that have a lower ozone depletion?
Yeah, we've got all new refrigeration units. We have no ammonia on that location.
Okay.
So we'll be all Freon. That's how all our new buildings are all being built that way.
Okay.
I'll amend my motion then to have staff level, just get back to staff on the height.
We have a motion
Second.
and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion is approved. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So our next meeting will be March 10th, assuming we have agenda items.
Yeah.
And thank you all for making it so we had our quorum. And please respond to Elise and Lene when they send out, just so that we can confirm our quorum ahead of time.
Elise was nice enough to give me a heads up.
You down? Yeah.
Well, I had
okay. When she emailed, I said, I can text him. I got
my wife, I was working on going through emails at home yesterday, and I had 670 in my blocked file, but I still got to go through them because you never know.
Somebody gets booted in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, welcome back.
Yeah. So our next meeting is when? I missed.
March 10th.
I may be in Austin. That's
Monday.
next week. No, 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Okay, I'll be
weeks
able
from
to make
today.
that one. I'll be back. We're coming back that Friday before. Yeah. Okay.
All right, so I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
We're adjourned. Thanks, everyone. Yep.
Yeah, I got a conference, work conference. The nights are fun because